To interpret the personality job fit report, the first thing to do is to look at the good impression scale, which can be found at the end of the report. This tells you whether the participant has been frank and candid in their answering or has tried to exaggerate or disguise their answers. Most scores are absolutely fine, except for a score that is all the way to the right, towards that exaggerated, disguised end of the scale. If the participant scores all the way to the right on this scale, the rest of the report is less valid and you'll have to rely more on other parts of the screening process. However, as I said, most scores are okay. We prefer to see scores in the middle towards the left-hand side of this scale. So after you've established that the person has not tried to exaggerate or disguise their answers, you can look at the overall job fit score. In this case, it's 82%. There's also a red warning underneath that the participant has scored in the red zone in one area. That means that the participant's personality trait for one of the traits aligns with that of poor performance in the same role, in this case the team scale. After you've established that the report is valid and can be used, the next thing to look at would be any extreme result. And that is a result that's either too far towards the left or far towards the right on a trait. So in this case, you can see that the conscientious, conventional, and team traits all have those extreme scores. If we look at the team score, we can see that this person scored all the way to the left, to the individualistic, competitive end of the scale. And underneath, we can see that their score aligns with poor performance in the same role. This would be a reason to dig a bit deeper during an interview. You could choose to ask them the suggested targeted behavioral-based interview question underneath, or make up a question of your own. For the conventional trait, we can see that this person scored all the way to the right of this scale towards the consistent structured end. This aligns with high performance in the same role. But it is still a reason to dig deeper during the interview because it might not be a trait that is preferable for your specific job requirements or your team, or maybe even working with yourself as a manager. So any extreme score, either towards the left or to the right, is a reason to dig deeper during the interview. Any balanced score, for example, tough-minded or stable, or even to a certain extent extroversion, they're relatively balanced. So that means that the participant can swing either way with their behavior depending on the situation. If the cognitive assessment was a requirement for the participant, their general reasoning score will be at the top of the personality job fit report. It is also a standard bell curve, however, there is no benchmark underneath. This is because the specific job requirements for the role should be taken into account when looking at the general reasoning score. For example, for certain roles where the work is relatively simple and repetitive, a score towards the left-hand side of the general reasoning curve is preferable. However, for other roles that require more complex thinking and faster processing, a score towards the middle or the right-hand side of the curve is preferable. It really depends on your specific job requirements. There's a whole list of additional targeted behavioral-based interview questions available for each of the traits. So if the suggested question as part of the personality job fit report isn't suitable, you can always request a full list of additional questions as well.